You can never call games like this. Man United 4, Bournemouth 4. The game was chaos. Bournemouth were completely chaos. United were completely chaos. Should we have won this game? If it was just based off the attack, based off what we created, we should have won this game. However, why did we lose? We lost because of the defense. But is it because of Heaven? Is it just because of Shaw? Is it just because of Euro and Lemons? No, I blame this on the manager. I might say, but he's the reason that we scored 4 goals. He's the reason that we probably didn't lose this game because he made the right substitutions, because he brought on Kobe, he brought on Benjamin Sesko. But let me tell you that the defensive structure that we have been working with all the way from November last year, all the way to this December, it has been because of Ruben Amorim's structure, which is why we have been conceding so many number of goals. We conceded goals under Ten Hag, don't get me wrong. But did we ever concede this number to the point where some games we're conceding threes or we're even scoring threes or fours, but we're not even confident that we can win a game? It's not been like this for a long time. It wasn't like this under Ole because there were a few games where we conceded a lot of goals. But in the large parts of games, when we score a few goals, we were safe. We knew we had the game under wraps. At halftime, that first half performance was one of the best I've seen all season. This was up there with the Brighton game. Did we just deserve a 2-1? I would have said a 3-1 would have been fair at halftime. But regardless, we score first. Semenyo scores out of nothing. Because till then, we should have been 2-3, 4-0 up. But then Semenyo scores is 1-1. And once Semenyo scores, we know one thing. The shot is too perfect. But it was all a mismatch between Mount and Shaw. On the left-hand side, Mount played a ball which is probably stray and then Shaw was caught lacking. The guy doesn't track back. Heaven, on the other hand, he could have tracked Semenyo. He should cover Semenyo naturally. But the thing is, playing in a 3 centre-back formation, Heaven's essentially told, you stay as a centre-back. Luke Shaw will cover the left-hand side. And if not Aiden Heaven, there should have been Casemiro or Bruno covering in there anyways. Either ways, defensive frailties because of the manager's system. And out of nowhere, 1-1. But then just before halftime, Bruno with 2 good deliveries, by the way, for the free kick that led to the corner and the corner itself. Brilliant deliveries. Casemiro on the head both times. But the second time Casemiro scores because Petrovic makes a mistake. And then the second half was just, what do you call it? It was a blitz. It was mania. Those are the words you can use. Because I don't know how do you describe this half. 5 goals in one half. This was kind of up there with the Fulham Man City game. Only thing was that Fulham Man City had a lot more control throughout the game in the first periods. But in this game, we were 2-1 up at halftime. And you would think we were coasting in the first half, or we definitely deserved to lead at halftime. You come into the second half, 30 seconds in, Evan Nilsson scores. Before everybody settled in, Evan Nilsson has scored. And now you're thinking, what's next? Before you think what's next, Casemiro has picked up a yellow card, which means he's not going to be able to play against Villa. Villa away was already difficult as it is. We would have maybe thought the best you could get is a draw, right? Because of the form that Villa's on. They won their last, 10 out of their last 11 or 9 out of their last 10, whatever. They have won an insane number of games and they don't lose points. It's not like they're drawing a few games. They don't lose points. Now, compound that to the fact that our best midfielder, our best player, arguably, is out with a suspension. Add to that the fact that Ahmad, oh my God, Ahmad right today. I know I've given him shit this season. The guy has looked like Garnacho sometimes. Now he looked back to Messi form. Like the Ahmad that we were praising last season, this was the first time I saw him this season. He was on point. Cunha was on point. Those two, especially in the attack, they were the ones orchestrating everything, along with Fernandes, by the way. Fernandes, Casemiro, doing his job. He was tidying it up there. Because Casemiro was tidying it up there, that's why everybody else could play. That's why Bruno could play, Cunha could play, Mount could play, Ahmad. Everybody was clicking, except Brian Mbeumo was a bit 50-50. Dalot, by the way, Dalot's delivery. The guy can deliver a ball. 2 times, 3 times you could argue. He delivered perfect balls into the box. But unfortunately, it just wasn't our day. Even though we scored 4 goals, we should have scored a lot more. Mbeumo missed, I would say, 2 chances he should have scored. Any other day, he's bagging. But Mbeumo missed. And When Mino came on, the game changed, right? We became, or you could say it's because we were already losing, but offensively we became more of a threat. Why? Because till then we were relying on loose balls, more like first balls in the air. When the second Mino came on, we got a little bit more possession because obviously Casemiro was on the yellow card that he tried to earn. A free kick that they scored, which, guys, let's be honest, right? Out of the 4 goals, yes, Lamens made his 2 saves, but he should have done a lot better. Which is why, even though he made 2 crucial saves, we have to also scrutinize the fact you consider 4 goals. And what about his setup for the wall on that free kick, by the way? Because there was a gap between Bruno and Cunha and the other man, because the Bournemouth wall actually did a very good job to psych us out and psych Lamans out, which is why it was like a pass into the bottom corner. Should we be allowing that at United? No. But still, the game was just chaos because right after that, we knew, we could all feel at Old Trafford, at home, watching the game. You knew at 2-3 we were not finished. The game was not over. And guess what happens? Bruno Fernandes pulls a dynamite of a free kick. Top corner, I would argue, goal of our month. That was the best you could have got with a free kick. And the fact that when they stepped up for the free kick, you would have thought, no way are we getting 2 free kicks in the same game. But yet, we get a free kick. Bruno Fernandes literally pulls us out of there. Because the guy, again, I would say second game running, he was outstanding. Man of the match, you could really argue it among whoever you want. I would argue it's between Ahmad, Casemiro and Cunha. But you can really take your pick out of the 3. Now, Bruno scores that, and then before you settled in, before you realize what happens, Sesko picks it up, runs down the line, pulls the ball into the box, and then Cunha scores his goal. A goal which he probably deserved on the balance of the game. And then you think you won it, and then the ball goes to the other side, Krupi scores, and then you're just left wondering, the defense is to blame. Now when you look a little bit deeper, you realize it isn't even the case of defense, because the defense is set up by Amorim. The tactics are set up by Amorim, which is why we defend in such an awkward manner, which is why Lenioro and Heaven almost don't know how to defend in a back two, because back to centre backs, that is. Because we're so accustomed to a 3, and the 3 function in a weird way, because I've seen this a number of times. The goal that happened today, for example, Luke Shaw, being a left back or left wing back, is told to step up. And when he steps up, this space needs to be covered, but the space can't be covered because Bruno Casemiro need to do the midfield job, which means ideally you want Heaven and Euro to just shallow that out. But you need a leader. We are missing De Ligt so badly. The sooner we get De Ligt back, sooner we get some sort of structure. Guys, if De Ligt is playing, I'm sure you agree, we were winning this game. And before we continue, guys, like and subscribe to the channel, because that pushes the video out to more viewers just like you guys. And yeah, coming back to the game, really was a chaos. It was just Casemiro, Ahmad and Cunha running the show. Dalot was not doing too bad. The defense was the polar opposite. And chaos is all I can describe it with. We should have won this game. On the balance of the first half, on the balance of what happened after we conceded 2-3, we should have won this game. But every chance Bournemouth got, they scored. Let's be frank. They got a few other chances, but the clear-cut chances that they got, Bournemouth converted. We, on the other hand, we created a lot more than Bournemouth, but we were not clinical, and which is why we were kind of punished. However, should we ever let it go that we scored 4 goals at Old Trafford? 4, not 1, not 2, not 3. 4 goals at Old Trafford, and we did not win the game. See, my opinion, this game is on Amorim. A lot of games in the past have been on Amorim. We have not won another home game again. So this is 3 games in a row. Everton, West Ham and Bournemouth. 3 home games you would say we should have won. Right? And not even looking at the context of the game, because Everton, there was a red card. West Ham is West Ham. And Bournemouth, well, we had the lead 2 times. So we should have won this game. But now comes the trickier part, because now we have Villa away. How hard is Villa going to be? You know what? That's for another day. Unai Emery, what they are doing over there, that's insane in its own way. But right after that, we have Newcastle at home. That's after Christmas, obviously. Now, Newcastle could be a very similar game where we have a similar performance. However, there is no Ahmad, there is no Mbomo. So we can't even rely on the right hand side like that. You probably see Patrick Dorgu back in the team. Now, do we want Dorgu back? Take your pick. I don't really want him back. Mason Mount, again, doing his job. I can't even dispute. Mason Mount has been one of our best players this season, and he continues to just, in his own way, be consistent with that same level of performance, which we can't really argue because consistency is not something we get from this team often, or in fact, any of our players. But Cunha played his part, Ahmad played his part, Casemiro played his part, the attack played their part. That attack was really formidable, which is why we got our 4 goals. Had we got a better defense, had we got De Ligt in this team, maybe we would have won. What do you guys think? Comment that all down below. And yeah, I guess I'll see you all in the next one.